experimental psychologists, is that human beings are remarkably plastic. That is to say, their behavior can change as a function of their experience quite radically. And we are starting to uncover what it is about the brain that allows it to be shaped in such radical ways from experience. I think that this speaks rather directly to the human condition in the sense that our Western society is full of traditions that want to identify individuals as being associated with temperament or character traits that they're born with, are part of their genetic line, are part of their caste or their culture, and downgrades or does not recognize the kind of profound impact that personal experience can have on what makes up an individual and how that individual behaves. There are astounding studies being done these days that have shown that your brain can self-organize in radically different ways based on what kinds of experiences it has.
So really this, what seems to have happened is what you said, is you've actually found increased diversity. That actually, instead of maybe perhaps, what was it, around the turn of the century, the patent office said that everything that had been patented would be patented. Yeah. And the scientists were saying that, the physicists were saying, well, we've got the whole thing with physics worked out, just a couple of details. And then, wham, comes quantum physics. So, I mean, in a way, it seems like what you've done is actually expanded the playing field instead of contracted it.
I think that, any predictions of the death of science or the end of science, as Paul Horgan would put it, are painfully premature. There is a lot we don't know, and scientists that are there in the trenches doing the science recognize that there's a lot that we don't know, and they're working on discovering it. And how human beings learn is just one of those areas where we're acquiring new knowledge on a daily basis.
What's the most astounding thing that we can make a machine do now?
That's a good question. Because of my own background, and I do have a bias here, I'm most impressed by the ability of machines to learn things from experience. And we do have machines that are able to learn things from experience. Programs like Deep Blue or Deep Thought, the chess-playing programs, got a lot of press, but to a large extent, their knowledge of the game of chess was provided to them by knowledgeable chess players, by the programmers. What is amazing to me is that we have programs in this day and age that are able to acquire similarly complex knowledge through experience, through running across many individual cases. Let me give you an example. Whenever you use your credit card these days, it gets swiped through a little box that goes to a system that tries to determine whether or not your credit is good for this particular purchase, but it tries to do something else. It tries to determine whether you are actually the person making this purchase or whether someone has stolen your credit card and is pretending to be you. There are programs that now exist that learn from looking at your past purchases, learn from your transaction record, what kind of spending habits you have. Indeed, what kind of spending habits everyone that owns a credit card of a particular brand makes, and is able to assess on the spur of the moment whether or not this fits in with your pattern of spending. And if it looks aberrant, if it looks aberrant enough, it might call up that particular cashier and say, we'd like to speak with this individual and make sure that it's who you think it is.
Is that being applied?
That is in the marketplace now. When you swipe your credit card, that system is being used. Similar systems are being used by American Express, Visa, through a large number of banks anyway.
Wow. Those systems have a dark side to them. I mean,
they certainly do.
There's a lot of information. I don't know if I want to have someone have that much information about me.
I wholeheartedly agree. One of the hats that I've worn in the past is an organizer for a group called Computer Professionals for Social Responsibility. And this organization, along with other activist organizations interested in technology, have pushed very hard to protect the privacy rights of people in an age when it's so easy to collect large databases of information about them. This is a growing concern, and I wholeheartedly encourage everyone I meet to look into it and try to find out what they can do to limit the ability of large corporations and government to track them in unseemly ways.
Speaking of organizations and groups, if you're interested in finding out something about secular humanism, you can find the website for the Council on Secular Humanism at www.secularhumanism.org. And there's a few other internet sites here maybe you can comment on for a minute. The secular web, which is www.infidels.org. What is an infidel?
So the name comes from the name of the organization that founded the secular web, which is the Internet Infidels. The Internet Infidels took their name because they felt like they were outcasts, like they were infidels in their own communities. And they've collected a very large library of humanist, atheist, agnostic, and free thought literature that is available free to anyone that wishes to visit their website. It's very well indexed. There are also archives of debates and discussions that have taken place between atheists, agnostics, free thinkers, and humanists and members of other religious groups. All archived there. A very informative site.
And then the last, the Secular Student Alliance at www.secularstudents.org, which is, I assume, is a student organization. There's a magazine there, too, isn't there? That
Yes.
They're going to hold that up here for you. This is the Free Inquiry magazine, the official magazine of secular humanists. And we'll give you a picture of that before we go off the air. The internet address, again, is www.secularhumanism.org. And, well, Dr. Noelle, I hate to say this, but we're out of time. It's been absolutely fascinating. Maybe perhaps come back sometime.
I'd be very happy to.
Some panel shows. Thank you very, very much for coming. And bless you. Good night.